Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your hosts, Kids at Hart.
Yo, 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 yo.
Yo, 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 yo.
It's
the kids
Nick
at Hart.
Mobach and Chris Anthony Lopez. It's Wrestle Reel.
I am the Slam Master J of Crime Time. I'm just warning you right now. Dude, that's going to be one of my names on here one day. It's going to be the Slam Master J of Crime Time. Hi, everyone. Pre-recorded episode this week. But we are recording it on a Wednesday. So this gives, because it'll be uploaded tonight, this gives you at least a couple of days to really settle in and see what we're talking about if you're interested. So thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I am the Big Show, Nick Bolda. This is, well, it's the Chris Show. Chris Anthony Lopez. I mean, like, we'll get into why our names are this. You should know by now if you're a wrestler.
Right.
Holy crap, it probably rocked your world as much as it rocked ours. But Chris, how you doing, brother?
Yo, I am over the moon, right? Yeah, we apologize for a pre-tape. Like, we've done the last few weeks live, which is so dope to do. Love doing the live shows, but my schedule is pretty bad this week.
Dude, I learned today that so is mine. So for all I know, we could have never recorded one this week.
Word. So I'm just eternally grateful that we got an episode up. Wrestle Reel 19, baby. We've done 19 of these things. It doesn't even feel like it. That's the crazy part.
19 weeks of Wrestle Reel. 19 weeks.
So we're out here. Nick, I mean, we always start the show the same. Brother, have you watched any wrestling this week?
Well, no. Quite frankly, no. But I do want to say, I'll start off the episode with something that we're not necessarily talking about on the show. It's all these NXT recruits.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a freaking bloated roster, WWE. I saw you picked up on our last episode. Holy shnikes, that's a lot of people, including, there's two names that stick out to me. It's baby Brock Lesnar, and and of course, Taya Valkyrie. It sounds like she might actually keep her name.
It sounds like they announced her as Taya Valkyrie, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes, because they like to switch things up last minute. I'm actually going to pull that up because I want to see that.
I forget the guy's name. I forget baby Brock Lesnar's name.
Typically, we start with wrestling, but I mean, like, we talk about these new NXT peeps all the time.
Well, did I watch wrestling?
The guy's name is Parker.
Parker Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. Yes.
Yeah, Parker Bordeaux.
6'4", 300 pounds.
You know, they also signed Rick Steiner's son.
Yeah, his name is Bronson Rex Steiner.
Yeah.
Is that wow, is that Rick Steiner's shoot name? Rex Steiner?
It might be. Yeah.
Steiner? Is that wow, holy God.
Former Baltimore Ravens fullback.
No shit.
Yeah, really.
Oh my God. Yeah, they're out here using everybody's shoot name, which is kind of weird, but I mean, some of these folks you already saw. Like, we already knew some of these folks. Like Priscilla Kelly, like she got that Gigi Dolan name, which I still don't like. Brianna Coda, she became Cora Jade, which they already announced on here. Like, some of these folks already have names, so that's great. However, like your boo, Taya Valkyrie, she necessarily didn't have an announcement in regards to a name. They just said that she competed as Taya Valkyrie, or known to wrestling fans as Taya Valkyrie. So that could mean anything. We don't know what that means exactly.
Yuck.
But I mean, 10 people, or excuse me, more than 10 folks, has 10 female recruits.
I know. Yeah, that's a good thing. Form some more tag teams, WWE.
I've been saying for months, and I mean, this isn't really an unpopular opinion, that WWE has the best women's division across the major pro wrestling brands. They do.
Yeah. I like Impact's a lot. I'm not going to lie.
No, Impact's is dope, but that's a huge blow, losing Taya Valkyrie.
That's true.
Now she's jumping over to the WWE ship, where her shoot husband, I mean, they can make a storyline too. John Morrison, they're probably going to acknowledge it too on TV.
I just hope that it's not a thing that they do a lot, if I'm being honest with you.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just feel like Taya. I feel like there's a difference between what Maria Kanellis can do from a wrestling perspective. I don't mean from a talent perspective, because Maria could carry an entire women's division if she needed to.
Maria was,
Like,
she was awesome.
just with her like mic skills alone.
Totally.
And she developed as a wrestler a little bit, but it was just like, Taya, she could do it all, in my opinion. Just from what I've seen with her on Impact. This isn't me like simping her like crazy, like I always do, but it's just like, I want her to be brought in for more than just John Morrison's wife, right?
And we'll see where she goes. If she ends up on Raw, they'll probably, I'm not gonna say to pair them together, but they'll at least acknowledge it, like how Green and Daniel were, like on TV together. I hope it's not like a Nikki Bella, John Cena type of thing, where their storylines are interweaving with each other. Now that will just stunt the both of them, especially Taya Valkyrie. Now, because to the marks like us, we know Taya Valkyrie,
right?
But is everybody else going to know that? Not necessarily.
I really hope that she shows up on NXT tonight.
Ooh, I mean, she's there, and maybe spoiler alert. While we're doing the show, maybe we'll get some.
I'll keep my my WWE
but
page
we'll
open.
See.
Dexter Lumis has already beaten Johnny Gargano. So,
well, how about that? But,
also, my least favorite thing in the world is that people are photoshopping Dexter Lumis's mustache onto Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's very creepy looking.
Ew.
It just looks like bald Dexter Lumis. Sorry, I had to bring that up.
No, you're fine. But some other folks on here that stand out to me. Anthony Henry, I've heard of the name. He was in Evolve for a little bit. So like him, of course I want Priscilla Kelly to do more things. I liked her in her little baby run that she had in AEW. Oh geez. Like a lot of I talked to a friend of mine. His name's Jacob. Shout out to Jacob. Excuse me. He is he's a huge merc. Such a merc. And he hit me up after these announcements, right? And he was like, he said immense pain. I'm like, why you sad, bro? He's like, a lot of these wrestlers came from the indie scene and now they're going and jumping ship to WWE because money talks, baby. That $1 billion from NBC got to go somewhere.
Like it proved to be exactly the way that we assumed that it was going to be. You know what I mean? Like that they were going to go up and scoop up as much talent as they possibly could, which WWE, they really doing that? Is it a really good idea? I'm sorry, I just don't know. You know what I mean?
It's a 2-horse race in North America, at least, between all these indie peeps. They're going to go to AEW or WWE, Impact being the lone survivor in its own little pocket.
Which is good.
But I'm just in the camp where, like, let me just... My problem is a lot of these folks, we're not going to see them for a while, if at all. That's the thing. And I told my buddy Jacob, it's sad because a lot of these folks are going to get rebranded, or not rebranded. They're going to get repackaged. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in the Performance Center for a while, and we may see them on 205 Live under a different name.
Unfortunately. I mean, there's that one guy. There's this one guy who they split a tag team up to sign him, and I don't remember what his name is. He has got like a beard, and he's tall and skinny.
It might be that Anthony Henry dude from Evolve.
Maybe. And it's just like, it was a little bit of an odd thing. He has a name, and it's a weird name. Or it's not like it's a weird name, but you know what I mean. I could do my on the show research. Wow. Did we have a count before the count? I think we accidentally did.
It's a little baby count. It's okay.
No, yeah, of course.
A lot of wrestling news came out this week, and I mean, Nick and I had like a lot to choose from in regards to what we're chatting about on the show, to the point where we had to push other things into our high spots for this week. So,
which is hilarious.
Which is, I think it's the first time ever in the almost 20 weeks we've been doing Wrestle Real.
Yeah.
20 plus weeks. We've never had a jam-packed program before that varies through multiple different aspects of wrestling. We may be staying under the WWE banner. I promise you we're not getting any of that $1 billion, not yet.
Harlem Bravado is who I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. I saw his name on there, too. Harlem Bravado. It's a kick-ass wrestling name.
Yeah.
Harlem Bravado. Holy shit. But, I mean, without even talking about this any further because we'll talk about Ty Valkyrie every week on the show if we have to, which we probably do. So
I just have to ask, Parker Boudreaux's future WWE champion, right?
whoo, if Vince knows who he is, yes.
Yes. He's exactly what Vince wants. You know what he looks like? He looks like Brock Lesnar when he was the rookie.
You know who found him on social media?
Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman.
I know. Anyways, we have a big first count. I'll say a huge first count, a ginormous first count, a Paul Wight first count.
Let's do it. Look, so out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, right? I wake up this morning, I do my job, I'm at work for a little bit, and then I go on Twitter and I see his tweet said 4 minutes ago, Paul Wight is all elite. And I had to think to myself, who? Paul Wight? Like,
Paul Wight.
Who's Paul Wight?
It's like that name is at the tip of my tongue, right?
Yeah,
like,
and then I look immediately to the left, and it's the Big Show. He's all elite? What?
It broke my damn heart for a few seconds, honestly. Honest to God, I was like...
The first person I thought of when I saw that news, I'm like, oh my God, Nick needs to see this if he already hasn't. And a lot of the rest of the world hadn't even seen it.
Yeah, Chris texting me this morning, Wednesday the 24th, I will say, because like I said,
we did say that, yeah.
Well, that's the day it happened. You know, obviously,
yeah.
The day that it happened. Oh, excuse me. I saw that. I'm like, excuse me? Now, here's the thing. Is I am, and I'm gonna call him Big Show because that's who he is.
That's how we know him.
I'm a huge Big Show fan. I took his name because nobody else is using it right now, but I'm a huge Big Show fan. Love the Big Show. He is. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna re-record his entrance and it's gonna be, well, it's Paul Wight, because it's like I love the Big Show entrance. I love everything about the Big Show. So what I will say, and he's in the best shape of his life. I will
100.
If this means more Big Show on my TV screen or in the highlights where I usually watch AEW, I'm not mad about it. Am I stunned by it? He's probably on AEW right now challenging. Here's where I think this is unfortunately going to go, is that Cody's going to bow out of this match and we're finally going to see Big Show versus Shaq like we were supposed to.
Oh, shit.
Which is nasty. But I did tell Chris that I downloaded something before the show.
Yeah.
And this was something that was brought to my attention on Twitter a while ago. There was
I haven't seen this.
There's a tag team that has now been reformed in AEW.
Oh my God.
They had a kick-ass entrance. But what little people know is they had a horrible entrance.
Lord.
And I would just like to bring this up.
Oh no. Nick, no. Nick.
Listen, I understand that the name Big Show is trademarked, but the big Show is probably not trademarked. Let's hear that again. That, I'm pretty sure, was like their first joint entrance. And it is the worst entrance that is the worst theme I've ever heard before in my entire life.
It's atrocious.
It's so bad. Their later one that they actually use
break the walls down
is like, it's like before we got like the burn it down from Seth Rollins entrance. It's excellent. Like, that's a good joint entrance.
Two things from that clip. One, rest in peace, Shad Gaspard. Two,
I am Slam Master J.
We stand Crime Time over here at Wrestle Real, JTG and Shad Gaspard. We love them both. And holy shit, why didn't they have the tag titles? I will never forgive WWE for that. But going back to the big, you were over the moon when you found that. I'm so glad I didn't know what that was.
It's so ridiculously stupid,
Dumb.
and that is absolutely why I uploaded it to there, just because, like I said, I don't know why WWE thought that was like the best thing to do, but like it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a horrible thing to do. Don't do that to my boys. I mean, that's and Jericho. Okay, I have to ask. Well, we're on the subject of Jericho. Did you like Jericho or Show Miz better?
I preferred the team of Jericho.
Okay.
Show Miz is a better name.
It is. Oh, a Show Miz. And you know what's funny? I was about to say effing. I'm a freaking idiot, and I didn't even realize that was a play on words for a very long time. Right. It like took me until like this year to be like,
it's like, wait a second.
So do we have a joint tag team now? Now that he's Paul Wight with Chris Jericho,
they can be
White Show.
They can be the White Gods. Never mind. I take that back.
Yeah, White Co. We can just get worse and worse and worse.
Okay, but the biggest piece of this news, there was a press release that came out with this, and it stemmed from obviously from All Elite Wrestling and Paul Wight. Two things we learned from this press release. Mm-hmm. One, Paul Wight will be competing in ring, so okay. Paul Wight's in-ring career is not over by any means. Two, he will also be doing commentary for AEW's third weekly show that'll go on YouTube on Mondays at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be called Aew Dark. I believe Elevation is the name of it. I will double check.
Is that because of the fact that it is not? Okay, so is this like just another pre-tape show? Because I think Dark is pre-taped, right?
Yes, Dark is pre-taped, but I believe this will be another pre-tape show. It'll be on YouTube, probably all the bells and whistles.
Good space for that, honestly.
And it'll be a showcase for younger talent. They will use the same AEW.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
It's a showcase for younger talent and independent talent. They'll still use the same rules. The wins count, wins matter, and yes, AEW Dark Elevation, excuse me. And yes, Mondays, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Established and rising stars, as well as top independent wrestlers within the industry, competing against each other in the ring in pursuit of wins, a la what AEW already does.
See, now, just because that does have to do with this Paul Wight subject, that is really interesting to me in the competition between
he's doing commentary.
WWE and AEW. You know what I mean? That does play into that a lot because, I feel as though people are going to want to have something to showcase there. Mm-hmm. That's a kind of a prove it ground. Now, it's not on the biggest stage like NXT is. What's crazy about WWE is their prove it ground is competing with AEW.
Right.
They're already so popular that their prove it ground has to compete with it. So this is a step in the right direction for AEW, so I commend them for that. And it's going to be hilarious how much Chris and I mark over random people who appear on that show.
Right.
Because we're just going to be like, oh, it's that guy.
It's my favorite wrestler.
Now, what's crazy about that is like, it's almost going to be like, wow, a guy from Impact appearing on that show is probably not going to feel as special just because they obviously have that partnership already.
Right.
But like AEW, where I live in Cleveland, is a huge, popular wrestling company where I would obviously love to recruit some wrestlers from there to be on the show. I will be in contact. And it's where a lot of those upstart wrestlers got their start. Johnny Gargano. Eddie Kingston has appeared there plenty of times. That's where I became a fan of Eddie Kingston. So it'd be interesting and that would probably be where Chris and I not would defer. You would probably know a few of them, but I would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's that guy," and then you'd be like, so I'm just saying, like, I almost feel like this is going to be WWE's Evolve. I mean,
Totally.
AEW's Evolve.
No,
Because WWE is using Evolve as that type of thing.
No, 100%. And AEW, the fact that they already have 3 shows technically, although 2 of them are on YouTube, that's still pretty nuts. And they've only been a promotion for a few years now. And I want to find this quote from the press release in regards to Tony Khan. So okay. Tony Khan said in the press release, Paul Wight is one of the most recognizable and impressive professional athletes in the world. He wanted to come to AEW because he believes that we're the best promotion in wrestling, and we believe that he has a lot to offer us both in the ring as a wrestler and also outside of the ring as a commentator, host, and ambassador for AEW. So let's take into account those 4 things. Host, ambassador, commentator, and wrestler. Obviously, we know him as a wrestler from whether he's the Giant, the Big Show, whatever the hell. People are going to recognize him, obviously.
Yes.
WWE gave him that sitcom before he bounced, apparently. And we'll touch on that in a second. Commentator. He'll be doing the commentating on Aew Dark Elevation. Great. Like, I mean, I think the Big Show is a great personality, hence why he'll be a great host for them as well.
Yeah,
and
for
the
sure.
ambassador portion, when you saw WWE doing that PR stuff, the promo stuff for the kids, he was there. Big Show was there. People know who Big Show is.
Yes.
And now that he's with AEW in a long-term deal, we don't know how many years exactly, but a long-term deal, this could be where Big Show probably ends his career.
Yeah,
it's crazy as hell to think.
It is. Yeah, that was something that I didn't necessarily. It's okay. This isn't me sitting here like, oh, I didn't want to get into this because it's a touchy thing. But like, do you think he just burnt bridges like he did with like Chris Jericho did? Because like, he was not happy about how things ended with WWE. As in like,
come on, Jericho?
No. Big Show was not happy about how things ended with how things ended with Legends Night. And that's one of the reasons why they couldn't strike up a new deal.
What happened at Legends Night? Am I unaware?
He just wasn't happy with how things went, how he was used.
How it's just like dumb
to
have Legends Night.
How it was basically Randy Orton attacks a bunch of Legends Night, more or less. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like it really did not feel right. Legends Night kind of bothered me because it just kind of felt like
it was a ratings grab.
Well, and I think that there's a difference between how AEW would do a ratings grab and how WWE is doing a ratings grab. AEW, and I hate that this is come to this, but AEW has to recruit as many old wrestlers. It's the formula for TNA. It's the formula for WCW back in the day. It's how can you survive when WWE is already so established? You bring in older wrestlers. You bring in celebrities very early on. And whether or not you like it or not, I think AEW has focused more on the wrestler, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas those shows were like, let's make David Arquette world champion. I mean, it sucks to think that, it does feel a little bit like, I don't know. This was their shot at like continuing to grow as a company, clearly. So I'm really interested as to how things are going to continue to go from this.
I think AEW, as much as I like to shit on them because I think they're the show for the mercs, right? Like all of us, like us, that means us too. Like when I say that, I totally mean us as well.
For sure.
When AEW first showed up, we're like, yeah. Oh my God, this is crazy! Like I've gone to multiple AEW show. I would watch their programming every single week. When I had cable, I'd flop between that and NXT. Mm-hmm. Like I was such a merc for AEW, and I still am to an extent. But getting someone like the Big Show to play devil's advocate to what you just said, is also a sign of growth as a company. Like, not only are they growing in regards to talent, because the Big Show obviously can still wrestle as much as he can, but they're putting him on a new show. They announced a new show in this press release. Yes. I think that's the thing that's being swept under the rug. At least this is the first time I'm hearing about a third show for AEW. It's always been rumored. It's been rumored they're adding new shows, but this is the first time I've seen it actually put down on paper. And AEW Elevation, or Elevation, how am I saying this? Elevation.
You have been saying Evolution, but I guess I haven't really been catching it either.
Elevation.
Oh, it's okay.
That's the damn name of the show. AEW Dark 2 on Mondays. Like, that's another show that will show. That's their NXT, right?
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of AEW Dark has a lot of the proven commodities already facing off against those guys like Ryan Nemeth, the Hollywood hunk, right? Like, we've seen these indie guys before, but they're wrestling the established talent at AEW. But now this case, maybe we'll see some of the younger talent be showcased, or the established talent that isn't being showcased enough on AEW Dark 2. Right. So, and seeing Big Show on commentary for that would be a lot of fun. Like, I think it'd be a good start. Obviously, Big Show hasn't done, to my knowledge, any commentary in his career, but he's a good personality. And
yeah, I have no doubt that he'll do really well on the mic. Like, it feels like that almost was the perfect place for him to go. You know what I mean?
Right. And if you put him with someone that he knows, and someone that he's comfortable with on the mic, or someone that knows what they're doing commentary wise, I think it's gonna work really well.
For sure,
it's gonna be a really good deal across the board. And yes, all of us mercs are like, oh, Jericho is gonna be on AEW, and what's this gonna be like? Is he gonna wrestle Shaq now? Who the hell knows? I don't think he will, because they've been promoting Cody against Shaq forever now, and Cody is on TBS on I think it's called The Big Show. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I think
yeah.
So like there's they already built that up. I doubt they switch it up now unless something happens to Cody in the next week, God forbid, because I kind of want to see Cody work over Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
But I like this Paul Wight move. But the one thing we haven't chatted about, or at least you kind of briefly mentioned it, was how out of nowhere this came, and why the hell did he leave WWE? Like,
were they going to let him compete? It doesn't sound like they were going to let him compete.
And why did they let him walk?
Yeah,
that's the crazy part. They let him go.
It doesn't feel right. Like, it doesn't feel like this was how this was supposed to end.
I was chatting with a friend of the show, Soda. Shout out to Soda, wherever my man is.
I saw, yeah.
He said that he thought the Big Show would be a for-lifer, where he'd always be there. And I mean, I bet everybody thought that. Because my man just got a sitcom. Granted, it was canceled, but he just got a sitcom on Netflix through WWE Studios. But I guess that wasn't cutting it. Maybe that cancellation was the beginning of the end.
It just, man, he should be the knucklehead Paul Wight, by the way. But we're gonna review Knucklehead at some point.
We have to.
I just, man, and that's where this feels weird for me, man. It just does.
It's weird as hell.
The idea of the Big Show not being involved with WWE anymore bothers the hell out of me. Because Big Show.
What does that say to the rest of the locker room, right? How do they feel about it? I love to know a vet like Kofi Kingston, a guy who's been there forever. I'd love to know his thoughts on it. I'd love to.
And does this lead to more guys leaving? Like, there's always that rumor, you know, like, and you know, with AEW, obviously this came as such an out of the blue thing.
Right.
But should we believe these rumors when they are started, when it comes to wrestlers outside of the Big Show, obviously, leaving for AEW? Because two stick out in my mind. Jon Moxley and Rusev. I don't know what his name is.
Miro.
Miro.
The best man.
the writing had been on the wall for a very long time that Miro wanted out and that he was going to join AEW the second that he could. Maybe it wasn't with Mox as much because AEW was so new at the time.
They straight up said, like, WWE wrote up an article, put it on their website, saying that his contract was ending in March or April, whenever the hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they announced it. They don't do that at all. Never.
No.
This is the one time they did it. And Moxley showed up at that next pay-per-view for AEW.
Which was kind of crazy considering that, no compete clause they always have.
Well, because he just let go of his contract. They didn't release him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Contract just expired.
Yeah.
So, like, he was like, all right, fuck it. I took a month off. Now I'm going to show up at All or Nothing. By the way, that's my one. Or Double or Nothing. That's my one. So, that's a good point, Nick.
I did say that. But yeah, like, are we... And what does this mean for these contracts? And do you think that WWE is going to be rushing to get contract extensions or new deals done? Like hell. And what clauses are they going to need to put into these contracts in order to guarantee that they get what they need? Because think about it. Cesaro was out. I thought Cesaro was gone after.
I thought he was out too.
And then out of nowhere, they're like, new deals with Cesaro. He's here for the long run.
You see how they've been treating him on TV, though?
I know. And it's like, don't give us that taste, WWE. Even though he didn't win the Elimination Chamber. So that was
good, though. They made him look good.
Made him look great.
That's a match I did watch, Elimination Chamber.
Daniel Bryan needed to win it, frankly. Give him another career accolade if this is his last run.
They're going to do Daniel Bryan at Fastlane one more time.
You think so? That makes sense.
I think story-wise, they'll do it once, and then Roman's going to beat Bryan, like, kill him or something.
Seth Rollins is going to interfere. Although I am more on your Seth Rollins versus Cesaro train. Because he did call out Cesaro more. Anyways, AEW. But back to my point. Yeah. Cesaro was on his way out, and WWE was like, here's all the money in the world that you need. And will WWE... this is where I almost wonder if WWE will start to ease up on those things that we were talking about.
Like Twitch and stuff?
Not OnlyFans. I just don't know. I get that OnlyFans is used for different things.
It could be it could be look bad.
Yeah.
OnlyFans is a negative connotation.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. That's not us. I would like to just continue to reiterate when I make a point that I think is risky in my head that, we don't necessarily believe that, but I'm just making a point that, like, I could see why, like, Playboy's not even doing friggin' nudes in their magazine anymore. And, WWE used to have superstars pose and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But think about it like this, there has to be like talks that like, hey, if you don't do this, we're walking. Because like right now, up, down, down is like the only gaming related thing that I can even think of when it comes to WWE, because it almost feels like people are afraid to do anything about it.
A lot of folks stopped doing the gaming stuff. Like I think AJ Styles did, Cesaro did. Mm-hmm. But Cesaro's on up, down, down, so I don't know what that means exactly. But a lot of these guys are getting their fix online through up, down, down because of the Twitch rules and the TikToks and the cameos and all that shit. But to your point, Nick, I think what this says, the Big Show walking away, I guarantee they gave him money. They were about to pull up with the dump trucks, put all the money in this front yard. But he's like, no, I'm going to go to AEW, take probably considerably less money to be a commentator and to be in the ring still.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you they didn't want him in ring anymore.
Right. And especially like the product changes. I know things change, but like WWE is changing slowly but surely. And I think what this will prove is that other guys maybe won't be as scared to walk away, but at the same time, not everybody has the luxury of going to AEW. Right. That's also the fear. There has to be a mutual want And like I remember, a couple weeks, or not even a couple weeks, like a week ago, I was watching an interview with the Good Brothers, and talking about how before they re-signed and then they got released, they were going to go to AEW, and it was all but confirmed. But WWE was like, "We'll give you the big bucks," and they're like, "All right, we want the big bucks," because how can you say no to that kind of money? Obviously, some people do, but not everybody can.
Some people do, and it's well, it's not odd to me. They have passion for the wrestling business, you know.
It's a lot of money.
But like WWE now has the ability to offer a lot of money.
Yes.
Now Moxley knew he could be a top guy somewhere else. I think that Miro is probably eventually, once he drops this best man gimmick, he'll be a top guy there. You know what I mean?
They're betting on themselves. These wrestlers are taking risks and they're betting on themselves. Moxley, I mean, Mox had more than enough reason to leave WWE, and it was the worst kept secret in the world that he was going to go to AEW. It was the worst kept secret. Like, I know, like on podcasts, he was like, "Yo, they just called me one day." I'm like, "Man, the second you said I'm leaving," I'm like, "He's going to AEW."
Yeah.
Because at the time, like, little did we know, they needed that extra oomph, and it was Jon Moxley, and boy did it pan out, and still panning out to this day. So I think this whole Big Show thing is going to make wrestlers not as scared to leave WWE, only if they can bet on themselves. But we will not be seeing guys like Xavier Woods do it, because although Xavier has set himself up for a life outside of wrestling, and I would use him as an example for this, like if he leaves WWE, odds are he leaves up, down, down.
Yeah.
Because that's a WWE licensed thing.
That he's definitely making bank off of.
Oh, 1,000%. Like, my man has multiple incomes, and that is crazy as hell to me. Like, to me, I already bitch, moan, and complain about being busy as I am on this channel, let alone being a full-time wrestler, having a family, doing stuff for G4, doing stuff for your own YouTube channel, up, down, down, and whatever the hell else he does on Twitch or whatever. Like, I'm like, damn, like Austin Creed's one busy-ass mofo. I don't envy him, but, like, I admire the hell out of him. So, like, he's a guy that won't be leaving anytime soon. At least I don't think so.
Yeah.
And we'll see who's next. The question is, who's next?
Yeah.
Because the Big Show leaving and Paul Wight going to AEW, that sent shockwaves to the wrestling world. It's like, woo! Like, that came out of nowhere. Like, I saw this video of the folks at Wrestle Talk. Nick, I don't know if you watch Wrestle Talk.
Every once in a while, yeah.
But they were recording one of their podcasts when the news dropped, and they released the clip on Twitter. They're all like, "What?" Like our reaction, right? They're like, "What?"
Oh my gosh!
What? They were by it. We like. I would love to know, like, if there was like a compilation of all of us finding out the news at the same time. I bet it'd be hell to watch.
Oh my gosh! I can't wait for the big wrestling drop when it comes to something when we're recording AEW. When we're filming AEW. No, when we're filming Wrestle Reel. Just how amazing that would be if we like figured out something.
We got this news on this show. My God.
The biggest. No, we did get a breaking news, but it was more figuring out the Elimination Chamber for the SmackDown side of things. But you know, Chris, Big Show is a WWE legend, and something that is incredibly interesting to me was whether we were ever going to hear his side of the story when it came to the WWE. Unfortunately, we might not, but we know we're going to be hearing the legends of plenty of wrestlers as we move on to count number 2.
So, yesterday...
That was the worst segue in the fucking world.
No,
sorry, that was my one.
No, it's good. I liked it. I knew immediately where you were going. I'm like, okay, like we can do some segues, brother. But now WWE announced that they're doing this partnership with A&E, not to get confused with AEW.
And trust me, when I read Chris's text, Chris is always up on texting me all the wrestling news. When I read Chris's text message, I spit my drink out because I was like, "What? Sorry, whoever was in front of me."
Yo, Tony Khan has said that WWE is more than welcome to go to Daily Plaza, but that will never happen on this earth, not in this timeline. But AEW, not AEW. God, that ain't how me saying it. A&E and WWE. They're teaming up for this 8-part event series. There's 2 different shows, one called Biography and the other one called WWE Legends. And it obviously starts on April 18th at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. But both these shows are super interesting to me. So I'm reading this directly from WWE.com. The new biography specials are helmed by some of the industry's top directors and storytellers to chronicle the success of these WWE legends and their lasting mark on both sports entertainment and pop culture. And they're focusing on Stone Cold Steve Austin, for good reason, Macho Man, oh yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, again, for good reason, Booker T, interesting,
for great reason.
Shawn Michaels, hell yeah, Bret Hart, hell yeah, Mick Foley, hell yeah, and the Ultimate Warrior.
Wow.
Probably the most controversial of the bunch.
Yeah, just a bit.
So that's the biography series that'll chronicle the stories of those men. But the Legends one will also feature a new series entitled WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, which focuses on the hunt for some of WWE's most iconic missing memorabilia, including Kane's original mask, Ric Flair's butterfly robe, Andy Kaufman's neck brace, Andre the Giant's passport, and more.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about the biography series. Give me Wrestling Pawn Stars! Give me Wrestling American Pickers! Holy crap, I am ready for that show! What?
Right.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's awesome. That is, oh my goodness. That is the coolest thing in the world.
So when I read this, I was immediately fascinated because I like when WWE breaks the walls down as much as they're allowed to. And
did you say break the walls down?
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Big. No, but with the biography series, to touch on that real quick, because I do agree with you, this treasure hunting show is freaking incredible.
Right?
The biography show is going to be interesting because of the folks that they chose. Obviously, we all know like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Mankind / Mick Foley, Brother Love, or Cactus Jack, right? Macho Man, Dude Love. Thank you. What did I say, Brother Love?
Yeah.
Isn't that that's freaking Bruce Pritchard? That's who it is.
Bruce Pritchard.
But maybe one day he'll get one. But out of these guys, I really dig these. The Booker T one's the one we chatted about the most.
Yes.
Because obviously, not only him being the only person of color in this, he is someone with not a controversial, but an awfully interesting history in professional wrestling, dating back to WCW all the way to his WWE run, which, I mean, was awesome. His WWE one was great. Mm-hmm. But there are some questionable moments that I wonder if they'll even touch on. Probably not. But I wonder if they will in this biography series. Because it sounds great. Like, this whole show sounds awesome. But the bread and butter, the meat of this is that Most Wanted Treasures thing.
Yeah.
Because the WWE Archive, to me, is the most interesting thing we've never seen before. I know we've seen like videos and you can tour it and it's this whole thing, but on my bucket list of things, I want to go to the archive. I want to be able to see this.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell WWE has not had a museum built yet. I legitimately do not understand.
In Stamford, Connecticut.
Put it in Stamford. Connect it to the damn headquarters. Because is it going to sell on its own? That's the question. It's not baseball. It's not the Football Hall of Fame. Connect it to the headquarters. Have it its own separate building, but still tie it into the HQ if you're going to put it in Stamford.
Yeah.
But you can still have one hell of an archive, especially like with all the stuff that they got. They got freaking cages and Punjabi prisons. The SmackDown fist. They could rebuild sets. Like, this could be incredible. And the fact that they're missing some key things in wrestling history is awesome to me. And that's if those things even exist anymore. Because some of these things may not even exist. Andre the Giant's passport, how weird is that? Andre the Giant's passport.
They have to have an idea of what they're looking for with that, though. Like, if it's
totally.
It's a passport.
Or like Andy Kaufman's neck brace, That's just like a weird, minute part of wrestling history.
But it's so awesome.
And it's important. Like, honestly, if you were to tell, and it's my favorite thing to say, if you can tell the oral history of professional wrestling, like beat for beat, I think you almost have to mention the Lawler-Kaufman stuff. You almost have to, because how blurred the lines between it blurred kayfabe like a mother trucker. Like, people thought that there was this genuine hatred, and there was between Lawler and Kaufman too at a point, right?
Yeah.
But especially now that Andy Kaufman's not with us anymore, like there's a lot to take away from this, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I wonder what other things they'll touch on. I mean, they saw like Kane's original mask. How the hell do you not have that? How does Kane not have that? Like that's my thing.
Well, he could though. That might be where they go.
He could. They can go to
the mayor's office.
And it's there, Kane's mask. I guarantee Kane at least has one mask in his office.
Kane's smelly original glove that apparently stunk.
That's disgusting.
That was something that I read in WWE magazine, was that he like never washed it or something.
Ew. Wash your gear, guys. But the treasure show definitely intrigues me the most, and it just raises the question to me again of how they don't have a museum. There should be a museum for the WWE or WWE or wrestling, really, but primarily WWE. Give me that SmackDown fist again. I know I saw it in that Firefly Funhouse match last year. It's not good enough.
Not
good enough.
I just want that back in general. Just give me that, because that is important to me.
It's probably one of the most iconic stages, if not the most iconic stage in wrestling history. That damn fist.
No freaking doubt about it, man. And you know, like that's the thing with this. I'm just excited overall.
It's more content, dude.
I want this. I remember when they used to do like a thing on the website where it was like they'd go into the WWE headquarters, into their warehouse, and they'd find a cool item and talk about it and stuff like that. Give me more of that. I'm excited for this. Give me this Booker T documentary. I'm really excited about that. Because
don't get us wrong, like we keep mentioning the Booker T one. All of these are going to be. They chose these men for a reason.
But I'm just saying, if they get into the nitty and the gritty of it, like there are things that like he let them get away with, and one of the things that like I want to them, if they're doing interviews and stuff like that, I want to know his genuine reaction to Hulk Hogan coming back, because there are pictures that you could tell he's pretty freaking mad.
Yeah.
So like I just want like the rawest Booker T content. And, you know, the Ultimate Warrior one is going to be interesting in the exact same vein.
Especially if he's not with us anymore. Same thing can be said for Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah. Will Hogan be involved in any of these? Because he is the centerfold of a lot of these people.
If we had Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior with us, maybe Hogan wouldn't be as involved. But because Hogan was so intertwined with these guys, I think we will see them, especially if they do other interviews.
Mm-hmm.
You can even do one with him and
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, like really. Oh God, if they want to touch on the Hogan Michaels stuff, like that's a whole different case, and that's another one,
different can of worms.
Like I am such a Shawn Michaels mark. It's not even funny. Like the last time he wrestled at WrestleMania 26. Mm-hmm. I was over the moon, right?
It's really weird that they brought what's his name out to team with Triple H as DX, Drew McIntyre. But go on. Yeah,
like it was really weird. They brought Vacant out for a tag match, but I was so distraught when Shawn Michaels had passed away, when he was when Shawn Michaels had retired. When Shawn Michaels had retired, granted, I was so happy because like that was. Obviously, that's my favorite match of all time, or two of my favorite matches of all time. Those two matches with The Undertaker. And like that run means so much to me because that's why I got into wrestling. So going back and seeing Shawn reflect on his career and talk about it openly, hopefully as open as they can on something like A&E, would be like it's going to be awfully interesting. And especially someone like him, who like those two runs are awfully different. And you got two awfully different Shawn Michaels at that time.
Right.
Like, you got that DX, I don't give a shit about you, Shawn Michaels. And he came back, he's like, I found Jesus, and I'm all about my family now. Like, that is, like, that's, like, the duality of man, but it's Shawn Michaels. And I would love to hear him talk about it. And, I mean, Mick Foley has himself one interesting-ass career, too. A guy that wasn't trained for wrestling, but look at where he's at now. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart. Like there's Bret Hart also have a kick-ass one too.
Yeah.
I mean, we are the kids at heart, so we better be looking forward to the goddamn Bret Hart one. But there's so much content outside of wrestling that I love. I love when WWE does the more raw interview stuff, like the Stone Cold sessions on the network. Those are great. I think those are awesome. I want more of that. The Last Ride. I want more of that, please. Like I want to see more of the behind the scenes stuff. And if this is the way we get it, then fantastic. But that damn treasure show is going to be so
excited for it.
Damn cool. It's going to be so dope. Because like I want to see more of of these gems that they have in the boxes in their warehouse. Display that shit. I will pay good money to walk through a museum of WWE, WWF, WCW merchandise or WCW, WWE shit, right? All over the place. Stages, Ric Flair robes, freaking Undertaker motorcycles. Like I would love to see all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I pay good money to see it. I would go to Connecticut to see that shit. If they put it in Stanford,
I'd go on a road trip with you, my friend.
WatCon Stanford.
WatCon of the two of us, probably. Maybe we could get Connor and Taylor.
Maybe we can get Connor and Taylor to go. Like Matt would probably go just because we're going.
I know.
But it'd be I think it'd be so dope if one day, which I think it will happen one day, it won't happen anytime soon, and I'll be shocked if they announced it within this year, next 2 years, 3 years.
Right.
But I do want to see more of this fun stuff, and the fact that they are giving us more content like this on A&E, which is that a subsidiary of Comcast Universal?
Probably, yeah.
It's like that would make a lot of sense. And by the way, March 18th, WWE Network goes to Peacock.
You can stream Fastlane and Fastlane on the network and Peacock, and then I think everything from WrestleMania on is only on Peacock. But
Word. So,
we do have some form of. Well, first of all, we did break news on this show.
Oh my god!
But we do have some fun news. Darby Allin came down on a zip line and attacked people with a skateboard. I've been trying to keep up because I want to see if we could break any like Paul Wight stuff during the show. I haven't seen him show up. Taya did not interfere in an EO match because guess who's facing against EO next? Tony Storm. Very excited about that. But
more Tony E, I'll take it.
Hey, random people popping up in random directions, possibly with briefcases. What am I talking about?
Segways, baby. Count number 3.
An actual genuine reaction, right? So, I'll tell the story right now.
Go ahead, please.
Even though it has everything to do with what we're about to talk about. So, last Saturday, we are doing Real Talk.
It's Sunday.
We're doing Real Talk. I've spent the past 3 days in my bed sulking, so it's fine. So, Real Talk, we are doing the show, and I'm keeping up with the Elimination Chamber because, for a few reasons. I want to see if Cesaro wins. Because that was one of our predictions. We got one wrong. Something that we could not have predicted, though. And I do want to get into the Miz thing a little bit here.
Okay.
Was MVP talking to the Miz during the show?
Yes.
And that
You did tell me that.
That had me, and I said that to Chris during the show, and that had me glued to my computer. And I even turned on the network as we were doing the show, as the moment was happening.
Oh, okay.
When Bobby Lashley, and I did not see this part, Bobby Lashley comes out and starts beating up Drew McIntyre.
Beats the hell out of him.
Now, what I'm thinking at the time is that Bobby Lashley, or the MVP somehow got the briefcase from The Miz, which, in my opinion, would have been a really weird thing for them to have done because, like, it's The Miz.
Right.
Miz wouldn't do that.
No.
And then out of nowhere, The Miz cashes in his Money in the Bank. And if you want a genuine reaction, go to that episode of Real Talk and see Chris Anthony Lopez have to mute his microphone in order to blurt out what I assume was obscenities and let's goes.
So from my
Miz
point of view,
has cashed in. Sorry, go ahead.
no, from my point of view that night, Nick updates me on Elimination Chamber. I'm not watching the show. I'm not keeping up with the show. I plan on watching it later. And I was asked if I wanted to watch that show, and I said no because I had prior obligations, that being Real Talk. So I wanted to watch Elimination Chamber. I did. I will say that up front. But once I found out I couldn't, I'm like, you know what? I'll watch it later. Or I'll read the results later. Nick tells me about MVP and The Miz. I shrug it off because I don't think it's a big deal. And then Nick texts me during the show. I don't see it because I'm probably going on a soliloquy about Spider-Man or some shit. And then you say something in regards to The Miz. And then my brain's like, Miz. And you say, Chris, check your phone. I look down at my phone and it's Miz. And I'm like, oh! And then I go to Twitter and there it is. The Miz cashes in and he defeats Drew McIntyre and my brain melts. I do have to mute my mic because obscenities and not let's goes, just a bunch of OFs. O-F, F, 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 F. Like, I had to cover my mouth so people would know what I was saying. I couldn't believe it. WWE nowadays, it is hard to surprise me.
Yeah.
It is hard to surprise me because us mercs, we're like, we think of every possible outcome for everything.
Yeah.
And Nick and I would come on this show every week and we would talk about The Miz and we would think he's going to cash in one day and lose.
Yeah.
Because look at the sake of competition. You have Drew McIntyre as your top champ and he's going to lose to The Miz. We thought we were hot shit, knowing The Miz was going to lose. And then, after that grueling Elimination Chamber, Drew McIntyre gets the shit beat out of him by Bobby Lashley even further. And then you hear, awesome! And then my man runs out. The Miz is cashing in his Money in the Bank contract. And then The Miz hits him with a DDT at The Miz one, and McIntyre kicks out. And then he hits him with a skull-crushing finale, which I still love that finish because it's still well protected. And bang, new champ. You got that picture, that great still of The Miz holding that belt. And like, what the, oh God. Like, what, that scared me. Like, what the F? I was tripping over this thing. Now, with that being said, before we get into the meat of the conversation that's scrolling down at the bottom, Nick, since you had some time to think about it, and you at least heard what happened on Raw, now that Bobby Lashley's gonna probably kill The Miz next Monday.
Oh, I hate that he's a placeholder champion.
He 1000% is, but since you've had your thoughts, you have to think about it. We haven't necessarily spoken of it since that night. How do you feel about The Miz's moment and what happened afterwards? The aftermath of what's going on with everything.
So here's the issue. Is that Miz? There's a few things to think about when it comes to The Miz. The Miz is one of the hardest working wrestlers in the WWE.
Yes.
Especially to get to where he is.
Mm-hmm.
The Miz is a 2-time WWE champion. He is the first 2-time Grand Slam champion.
Mm-hmm.
And in the history of The Miz, his cash-ins are only going to be remembered as 2 shitty WWE championship runs.
I mean, Nick, look, and I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves later, but you're right. Because the first one, John Cena and The Rock ruined it.
Yes.
Soiled it. They ruined it. This one, this can go one of two ways. One, Miz somehow, some way finds a way to hold on to that belt till WrestleMania. Although he has a WWE title match next week and Fastlane next month. We'll see how that goes. And two, you have to pay off this Bad Bunny feud. And there's no way in hell, is Bad Bunny going to wrestle for the WWE Championship. No way. On As long as Vince McMahon's alive, that's not going to happen. As long as anyone with sense is gonna be alive, this isn't going to happen.
I like that. Anybody with sense.
So, I like where Bad Bunny's going with the 24/7 title. He's still with Damian Priest. Let's keep that tag match with Miz and Morrison put on the shelf for now. The Miz. Now, let me preface all this by saying, I loved this moment. I wish there were fans there. The fans would have lost their damn minds. I think one of the things we can learn from this whole pandemic era of WWE and of professional wrestling, is that we need the fans there. The fans add so much. Going back and watching clips of wrestling in it, and the fans are there, is so different than watching wrestling now. And I know it's obvious because like we've known that since last WrestleMania, but now it just hits different. Because we're so close to the end, we see the light at the end of the tunnel where fans can come back, and Nick and I can go to all the wrestling shows and give you Wrestle Reels live from after that. But we got a ways to go.
Don't we ever?
And until then, we're not gonna have any fans, at least in WWE shows. So, what the hell are you gonna do with the Miz now? That great moment, that great cash in. He beats McIntyre. McIntyre wasn't even on Raw on Monday.
Yeah.
He wasn't even on the show. So they're going to, have him take a seat for a second. He'll be back. But, holy God.
He'll be back to go after Bobby, but it's like, it's going to be for the WWE Championship. It can't not be. Because who's the Miz going to face at WrestleMania?
He's
Bad Bunny
with Morrison, and they're going to face Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. Estoy en mi pick.
Every time. And it's like that's why this pissed me off. Because it's like, I guess there was that worry in my head that it wasn't going to be successful. But at the same time, it's just like, I believe that the Miz deserves better. Now, Miz will tell me, Mike Mizanian will tell me right now that, this is perfect for his career. He'll go off on me. And I have all the respect in the world for the Miz. He's from where my family grew up. He's, like I said, I think that he is easily the hardest working wrestler of all time. To get to where he's at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A guy who debuted the way that he debuted should not have been...
And was treated the way he was treated by his peers.
Right, but should not have been WWE champion, as well as should not have been the best, a top card guy. Mm-hmm. And he is. And he proves everybody wrong every single day.
Yes.
Which is just, again, why I'm so bothered by what's going to come of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Strowman was never going to win that match. Strowman's facing Shane at WrestleMania. There's no doubt in my mind. And then you got, Bobby Lashley, where Bobby Lashley... But here's the issue with it as well. Is if there's a person behind The Miz who deserves a WWE championship, it's Bobby Lashley. Mm-hmm. So, I understand that not everybody can be top guys, but I honestly wanted The Miz to cash in and have some sort of a heelish redeeming championship run.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents on the matter.
No, I totally agree with you. It's a bummer. And I hope we're wrong. I doubt that we're wrong. I think this is the popular opinion on what's going to go on. But
it would be a triple threat match if not.
If at the very least it will be a triple threat match, yeah.
And I don't want Drew to beat Miz at Fastlane. That's something I don't want either.
That too. I don't want Drew McIntyre to become a 3-time WWE champion within a year.
And it's not even that. I don't want the championship to change hands 3 times within a month or 2. You know what I mean? That just devalues your championship.
Right.
And it's also going to rub the fans the wrong way if you do that for 2 reasons. One, it's going to devalue the WWE Championship, and in a way, it's going to devalue the Universal Championship because they're not dropping it from Roman Reigns, I don't think, anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
And if people become sick of Roman as the Universal Champion because the championship keeps changing hands, that's not good for your product. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know what I'm getting at? Like, I know that's a little bit confusing of a statement, but but what I'm trying to get at is like, it devalues your championships in two ways. If you book strong, whether they're heel or not heel, or what's the opposite of that? Whether they're heel or face, it's like, it ruins the value of your championship if they just keep either losing it or holding it too long because somebody else is losing it so much, or the other one's being lost so much. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, anyways, on a happier note,
on the bright side, Miz had a great cash in. Like
Miz
you
did
said,
have a
Nick,
great cash in.
he became the first 2-time Grand Slam champion, winning every major title in the modern era twice, which
That's
is
crazy.
nuts.
It's insane and amazing, and I love it.
That is nuts. So the Miz, first Grand Slam champion, obviously first Battle Hall of Famer, and what hasn't he done? Win the Rumble and King of the Ring.
I hate to do this, but I almost want him to win King of the Ring more than I want him to win the Royal Rumble.
King Miz, brother.
King Miz, dude. King Miz would almost be better than King Mabel. Anyways, Money in the Bank cash-ins.
Yes.
Is now the subject of this video. I think, have we talked about Money in the Bank cash-ins before?
I bet we have.
We have, because of Otis.
Yeah, because of Otis.
Also, I would like to ask you this. Do you think Otis would have kept the Money in the Bank and cashed it in successfully if the fans were there? Because I think that he would have.
I think he would have, and the fans would have turned on him almost immediately.
Just the snap of a damn finger.
If he say the same scenario with fans there, he beats McIntyre, the big pop. The next day, on Monday, they would eat him alive.
Oh, I would.
Or maybe like the following Monday, because they'll be happy for him the first Monday, and then the next Monday they'll be like, "Wait, where is this going?" And then
it made no sense. This feels right.
Yes.
And like the new modern championship with him looks amazing. Now
I just like a new belt.
Now I did like Miz as WWE champion because he could flip the M over, or the WWE logo over, and make it into an M. And I know he could do that now by doing this, but it was just so easy for him to flip that over.
Right.
Let's talk about cash-ins, because I would not put Miz's first cash-in on this list, though it did make fans pissed off.
You wouldn't?
No.
Oh,
his second one was better to me. I'll start off by saying my favorite of all time.
Oh, go ahead, please.
My favorite of all time is Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
It was the best moment ever in wrestling history in my head. Sometimes I put it up there.
In wrestling history?
Not always, but like to me, as a fan of wrestling, it felt right to see my boy Nick Nemeth win his first and only ever, unfortunately, world championship in the WWE.
That's a conversation I'm not going to have right now. I will before we're here for another 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Sorry. But it just, what a moment. What a moment. To have him beat Alberto Del Rio, who I think was a face at the time, surprisingly enough.
Yeah. Ziggler was a heel. Keep that in mind.
But it's another one of those where they never capitalized off of it necessarily, but the moment, if we're talking moments, that's why I would say that the Miz winning it now was good. Miz winning it before was fantastic because, I'm thinking too much into how much of a heel he was at the time. Miz winning it the first time was freaking awesome.
I'm telling you, I would put it up there, bro. I would. Not the top, because I agree with you on Ziggler's, but damn, it's close.
It's Seth Rollins 2 is what I'll ask you.
Seth Rollins 2, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
And I know we're having another production meeting right now, but Chris and I at the beginning of the show, before we even shot this, I'm like, I have a feeling we're going to agree a lot on these lists, because some of the answers are pretty damn obvious, right?
Well, there aren't too many to pick from, first of all. So let's also keep that in mind as well.
Fair.
But the Ziggler one, let's talk about that for a second. 2013, right, was the year, I believe it was. And Alberto Del Rio's in the ring, and he's selling whatever injury he had from the match he just had. And then, I'm here to show the world. And then the crowd went ballistic, right? Because they knew it was going to happen. And Ziggler came out with Big E and AJ Lee. I loved this run with Ziggler. This one made me a fan.
Oh, yeah.
This may have been. There's no documented proof of this. This may be the first time I popped. This may be the first time I popped as a wrestling fan. And
Okay.
I remember I was watching this. I was watching that Raw, and Ziggler comes out, storm into the ring in his like cut like shorts and the trunks he was wearing, and Big E was there, and I'm like, yo, this is gonna rule. Is he gonna do it? And he didn't do it easily. Alberto made him work for it, right? And Ziggler hits the zigzag. 1, 2, 3. The roar of that moment will define Dolph Ziggler's wrestling career. He could go on and win 5 more world championships. That
Nothing
moment
will ever be better than that.
nothing will top that. If I'm a wrestler, I'm like, holy shit, that moment right there,
That's what I want.
take me back. I want that reaction. As a heel against the babyface Del Rio. We didn't like Alberto Del Rio that much, where we had the heel with the briefcase come out
Oh my gosh, it was insane.
and pin him and win the world title. The reaction, I will never forget this. I popped. I was excited because I was and still am a Dolph Ziggler mark. And oh my God,
So
this was
am I.
the best cash in ever.
Ever.
It'll be hard to top it too. It will be hard to top it. Rollins got damn close.
That was just a cool moment. Something we had never seen before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Made
for
a
that
match.
to have happened was beautiful. Because we had gotten an in match later on, I think, right? Wasn't there one? I mean, Miz was supposed to be an in match.
That was
And then they
supposed
changed
to.
it up because Morrison cashed
Yes.
in, really.
as far as I'm
And then they
concerned.
did the Joker
Rollins
dance
is,
down the stairs and blah, blah, blah.
Rollins is the only one he's the only one that's done it mid-match, where the bell hadn't rung yet. There was no winner, and burn it down.
At WrestleMania in the main.
At WrestleMania, and that's just another testament to how good a Dolph Ziggler one was. That Rollins mid-match against Lesnar Roman at WrestleMania, the crowd went ballistic again. Another time, I'm like, holy shit! And I was so anti-Roman, so anti-Brock at the time. I'm like,
Do you think that was supposed to happen? By the way,
I think they called it on the fly.
I do too.
I think that day they might have told him that day.
Because they're like, well, I think mid-match they were like, Roman's not getting. I think that they told them. I think that Vince pulled him to the side. No, this probably isn't what happened. But I think Vince pulled him to the side.
You're gonna have to look it up.
Well, and he said, "Listen, if you hear Seth's entrance, he wins the match. Roman, if you don't, after a certain point, you win. But if the fans aren't receptive to you very well, Seth's coming out." And it happened, and it brought on what was one of the most interesting times in wrestling history with
That
the
Rollins-
Authority.
Yeah, that Rollins title run was interesting to say the least, whether you
Yes.
like it or not. And Rollins wrestled earlier that night. He wrestled Randy Orton with that kick-ass RKO spot.
Oof.
So it's 2 moments that Seth Rollins had at one WrestleMania 31. Yeah, was that it? And it was, oh my God. That's another moment I'll never forget. Because again, like I wasn't too high on Roman, wasn't too high on Brock. And when Rollins came out, I'm like, oh my God, mid-match. And he was just inserted into the mix. And they still wrestled a match. And Rollins pinning Roman. Like it was, oh my Lord. It was so good. So good. I love that one so much.
Let's see here. Dean Ambrose's was good.
Oh, okay. So I have a fun story about Dean Ambrose's. So I was watching with some buddies of mine. I was in college at the time, but I came home that weekend.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I went. Well, I shouldn't say came. I'm not home anymore. I went back to Northwest Indiana that weekend, and I was just like, "Yo, hey y'all! Like, I know I got to drive back to ISU tonight, but let's watch. I'll watch at least like an hour of Money in the Bank." And they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I was watching Money in the Bank with my buddies. What was it, 2016?
Yes.
So I just got to college then. So, or I was, no. Holy God, no. No, yeah. So I'm out here watching Money in the Bank. and I had to leave halfway through the show, or like right when the show's about to end. I'm like, I gotta go, and I hear that like because Roman winning as champ, Rollins had beat him in the main event, and then Dean Ambrose came out of nowhere, like, and he Dirty Deeds, 1, 2, 3, new champ. All 3 members of the Shield were the champ in one night, and it was freaking nuts getting the texts and the messages. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Like I lost my freaking mind, and I'm like, yo, this is insane. And I had to go to freshman orientation the next day. And I'm like, yo, like this is so crazy. I love Dean Ambrose. I know a lot of folks, obviously they prefer Mox for good reason, but Dean Ambrose to me, he'll always be one of my favorites because when I got into wrestling again, he was one of the ones that stuck out to me. I love Dean Ambrose. I loved his run. I felt so bad for him in that last few months he had with the company because he did not deserve that, not at all. And they treated him like shit. That's a whole different high spot for another day. But I think that this one to me is one of the better ones. I know it's hard to rank it against Ziggler and Rollins because of the moments that they had, and I'd still put Ziggler at 1. But this may rival the Rollins one just because all 3 members of the Shield were champion one night. That meant a lot. They were in Vegas, I believe. So, and that's Dean Ambrose's that's like not his home, but like they popped for him now when he goes back to Vegas. And holy shit, he won the briefcase earlier that night. He held on to it for an hour, and he's like, "All right, this is my time." And then he had a great run with the belt.
Yeah.
And SmackDown
Brand split. Yep.
And that, I'll never forget 2016 SmackDown. I will never forget it. Holy shit! It was like that. It reinvigorated, gave that shock to wrestling fans. Like, yo, SmackDown's the shit again. And Dean Ambrose is at the top of that because of that night.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Look, I know it's getting a little bit ahead of myself, like after the Money in the Bank win, but it's hard not to look after.
No, it's important for that one especially. So I don't know if you have any more like really big ones. I could rattle off a few because I know we're already pretty late on time.
I will say the Miz's first one was great.
Miz's first one.
It made the Miz. It made the Miz. I'll say that angry girl is like that angry Miz girl. She's still talked about to this day, and like people are still like finding her and hitting her up and interviewing her, which is was so weird to me. But like that is nuts. And it was on Randy Orton, and it was on a random episode of Raw. But it made the Miz who the Miz is now. And in hindsight, holy shit, WWE, did y'all love that spinner belt that much? Yuck. Why was it? Oh, there's stuff so gross. I used to love that spinner belt. In hindsight, not so much anymore. It always has a special place in my heart, but not so much.
So, you know, RVD's, I'll say this, RVD's is the only good pre-match one.
Oh my God, that one night stand?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Let's talk about ones that we don't love as much.
Sure.
Mr. Kennedy not being able to cash his in bothered
Bullshit.
me.
It's such by the way.
You know, because I always thought that he was going to be a bigger
It's sunk him. It's sunk him, bro.
It's sunk him.
He sunk himself, but I mean, Randy had like 50 million wellness violations, so I think we can cool it. But Mr. Kennedy wasn't the best person ever, so.
Well, so let's go for a few bad ones here. Just a few we don't like, really quick. Then we'll get into our high spots and we'll wrap this thing up.
Gotcha.
Well, and let's give some love to the women's. I would say Bayley's was probably my favorite because I think that was the night she turned heel, right?
No. She turned heel on SmackDown where she just came out and destroyed the Bayley buddies. Oh,
okay. Alexa Bliss's was good because it was a same night. I don't think of Carmella's as anything just because I hated that match. A bad inaugural match. Let's think about bad ones for a second. I'll just name a few. All the ones that weren't successful were bullshit. Damian Sandow, it sucked. John Cena losing. Braun Strowman losing it. It sucked. But I'll say like the worst one that comes to mind, probably like Kane or Randy Orton, just because I don't remember them.
Nah, man.
Randy Orton. No. Randy Orton's was great. Sorry. What am I thinking?
No,
Cane's.
you're fine.
It's Cane's. Cane's was lackluster.
Dude, how is it not Baron Corbin?
Well, because Baron Corbin lost.
Right.
So I put it into the lost ones. You know what I mean? But Baron Corbin's did suck.
If you were going to put the belt on Baron Corbin at any point in his WWE career, it should have been when he had that Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
It should have been then, because now people are going to be like, huh? But at the time, he was good. The Lone Wolf was good. And I'm like, I rock with this. And then he shaved his head and everything went downhill. Dude. But when he won Money in the Bank, I'm like, this is Raw. And he cashed in. And John Cena screwed him over of all people? Come on, John. But
John Cena was involved with almost all of the failed cash-ins. His own, Sandow's, and Corbin's. So...
I will never forget that Corbin one, because if you were going to put the belt on him, you should have did it then. But, like, GD, bro. Like, especially in the modern era, like, now, like, looking back at the last few years, that was such a missed opportunity, and it sunk Baron Corbin. They tried making it up to him later. Hasn't panned out. King Corbin? Nah, we good, bro. We good.
I mean, he's the best heel in WWE. I'll admit that. Well, no, Roman Reigns is. I'm saying, like, the best heel that nobody likes is Baron Corbin. It used to be Miz. It's Baron Corbin.
Natural heat, where people just don't like him.
But that's his job. Like,
yeah, it's a job.
I can't fault a wrestler for being their job. Anyways, that was our Money in the Bank talk. I can't wait for the next pay-per-view. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. Oh, sorry.
One thing I want to say. Actually, nope. You know what? It spoils my high spot, so I will.
Okay. Money in the Bank is one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. I think we should watch it this year. Hopefully.
Totally.
Hopefully Otis doesn't win it again, and time for the high spot.
High spots, baby. This time we both have one.
Mine will be 5 seconds long because we've talked about it so much.
Yes, I don't remember.
And I would like a segment about it. But go outside. Sorry.
I don't remember the last time we both had one, or if we ever had one.
I dropped my fidget spinner. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Or if we both had one before. I don't know if this ever happened. So this may be the first time in Wrestle World history where we both had individual high spots. If we have done that, then great. Disregard everything I just said. But if this is our first time, awesome. Well, notch in the history books. But Nick, would you like to go first, because you said yours is going to be a little bit shorter?
Yes, because again, I think this is probably going to be a segment on next week's show or the week after that. Asuka needs to be shown more, needs to be showcased more. Yeah. WWE, what the hell are you doing? Chris Anthony Lopez, go ahead.
I totally agree, man. Asuka got the shaft the second Charlotte showed up, and they told us that wasn't going to be the case, and that was a bull-faced lie. They lied right to our faces, Charlotte included. But mine, I've been real unpopular about Edge's return for a while now. Like his more recent return, the Royal Rumble 2021 return. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, like when he won, I was like, go back and watch that video on our channel. I was like, okay, like I was still like meh about it, to the point where I convinced myself that the only outcome I'd be excited for in regards to WrestleMania was him wrestling Finn Balor. Like that was the only thing that I was excited about, and there was no way in hell that was happening, because at Elimination Chamber we found out who Edge is going to wrestle at WrestleMania. It's Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief. And look,
score one for the boys back home. I was right. I don't know.
I know how much Edge means to certain folks. I wasn't the biggest fan of Edge as a child or as a preteen, so I didn't start loving Edge until way later. I was way late to the party. Super late. When he retired, to be honest, I'm like, oh, Edge.
You're like, hey, I respect that guy.
Like, I like that guy. But for the longest time, I didn't like Edge. Not because he's a bad wrestler or anything, because I didn't like his character. Mm-hmm. Maybe because he's that good of his job, apparently. Now, Edge comes back last year. Holy shit! On this day, I see clearly. Like, great moment. One of the loudest pops I've ever had. Like I just said, real contradictory to what I just said not too long ago. I popped like a mofo because I've grown this love for Edge over the last however so many years. 9 years, I think it was, almost 10. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yo, like Edge is the shit, bro. I love this. Like this is hard. And then he wrestles Randy Orton for a few months. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I'm still rocking with this. He gets hurt. I bet. Comes back at the Royal Rumble. Comes in at 1. And he's kicking ass, right? He wins the damn thing. Okay. We're gonna do that Edge stuff again. But he's on the weekly TV, so I can't get mad at him.
He's there.
Obviously, they have their plans for the WWE Championship. Obviously. We just talked about that not too long ago. And so that narrows it down to 2 options. NXT or SmackDown. Roman Reigns is having the time of his life on SmackDown right now. Holy hell. All it took was the fans to not be there. That's all it took. Who would have known if the pandemic didn't happen and Roman Reigns wasn't off TV for months? Who would have known? We don't know. We will never know. And then NXT, Finn Balor's right there. A guy Edge has not wrestled. Mm-hmm. And that would be one compelling ass storyline. But Elimination Chamber, they tease us the hell. They've been teasing the hell out of it. Edge spears Roman. He points at the sign. Fireworks. And I felt nothing. Nothing. And it really. And I know I'm in the vast minority, and I'm not shitting on Edge. I'm not shitting on Roman Reigns because the both of them, like I just mentioned, have had great careers over the last year. Sans the injuries for Edge. But damn, you're expecting me to think Edge is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
I hope not.
I know the promo.
Bring back the World Heavyweight Championship.
I know the promos are going to be awesome. Edge is killing it promo-wise. Roman Reigns is killing it promo-wise.
He's had a lot of time to think about them.
Right. And they're both on fire right now. The actual match, I bet it's going to be great. I bet it's going to be awesome. Spear versus spear. I just think there are better options. And I know that you want Roman versus Edge, but damn, I think we could have gotten there eventually without doing it right now. I think they could have evaded each other for a little bit. I wasn't the biggest fan of the idea from the beginning because it's a tribal chief. I like this Roman Reigns character. I like it a lot. And like, there's no way he's losing the belt at WrestleMania. There's no way. There's no way Roman Reigns loses. Because why would you take the belt off him now? Vince, right. You got what you wanted. People are loving Roman Reigns right now. When's the last time you said that? When the Shield showed up?
Yeah.
Like before they concussed the Undertaker and everything went to hell? Like that is what I'm talking about. Roman's the shit right now. And you expect me to think that Edge is gonna beat him? Unless they want me to believe this is one-sided, which I doubt. Because the promos, like I said, between now and WrestleMania is gonna be freaking incredible. Yeah, it's gonna be fire, bro. And I know we have Fastlane, and Roman's gonna wrestle at Fastlane. He'll probably wrestle Daniel Bryan, and they're gonna make us think that Daniel's gonna take the belt and then face Edge at WrestleMania. That now you have my attention. That story's already there. 2 guys who thought they were retired came back from career-ending injuries, wrestling at WrestleMania in the main event for the big belt, the big blue belt. That writes itself. You don't even need build-up for that. You can announce that shit tomorrow. But you're going to give it to the guy. You're going to have the guy wrestle the unbeatable man right now, who only wrestles pay-per-views, by the way. I was just so whelmed by it. And maybe because my expectations had been so damn high, because the production quality at WWE right now is pretty darn good, especially on SmackDown. Especially on SmackDown, not Raw. Especially on SmackDown and NXT. My expectations are like this high. And I'm 6 foot. And it's like 6'2" maybe. But I'm like whelmed by this. Can my mind change? Totally. And I reserve the right to change my mind between now and then.
It's going to, I have a feeling. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just have a feeling that this is going to get better.
And if it becomes the shit, I will come on this show with my bowl of flack and I'll eat it. All my crow, all my flack I have in my apartment, I will eat the shit right here on Wrestle.
And there's not a lot left.
And trust me, there are other shows I'm on that I also eat a lot of this stuff. I ate some on Monday. But until that point, I'm just whelmed at this idea. I'm more looking forward to what's going to happen with the WWE title. And honestly, the NXT picture also has me questioning the future of NXT. Now that Adam Cole's out here turning on Kyle O'Reilly. That story's awesome. The WWE Championship one just has me questioning the future of the belt and The Miz. Roman Reigns Edge, yes, spear versus spear. One of the faces of ruthless aggression against the face now of the modern era, whatever the hell we're going to call it. But
Spear era.
Right? That's what it's going to feel like. But I'm just whelmed at this idea. I shouldn't say I'm disappointed or underwhelmed because don't get me wrong. When we have a WrestleMania watch along on this channel, because we will. I'm putting it out there now. We will. I'm going to be like, yo, I'm looking forward to this. Because it's WrestleMania and it's Edge and it's Roman Reigns. Two guys doing great work right now.
That's right.
But me personally, I'm just whelmed. And if that's a hot take,
shall be. It is, but
I'll do my 720 moon bomb, and I'll just, and I'll eat the pin. I'll eat the pin. That's all. Instead of eating crow, I'll eat the pin. How about that? And with that being said, Nick, before we wrap, is there anything that we missed that you'd like to touch on before we go?
We covered so much this show. It's not even funny.
We haven't did a show this long in a bit, haven't we?
No, we haven't. I mean, there's only one thing that's missing.
We can never have enough Goldberg on this program.
Never have it, never. I wonder who he's going to face at WrestleMania. But that being said, we appreciate you. Everybody who's watching. Dylan, I will give you a Wrestle Real update that Dylan came back, but it was on Real Talk. He just randomly commented. So Dylan's alive. Dylan, if you're watching this, we appreciate you. You're our number one fan. If we had Wrestle Real merch, we'd send it to you. But yes, everybody who watched.
All the people that watch the program, we are eternally grateful. And thank you so much for supporting Wrestle Real. I know we've done 19 of these, and we're going to keep doing more and more and more until either A, Nick and I just get tired of wrestling, which odds are that won't happen because that's why we started this damn show. And B, you're fine. That Watt cancels us, and I doubt that'll happen as long as Nick and I have something to say about it.
Okay.
No. So we're out here. We're going to be rocking. Thank you so much to everyone that rocks with us. Please follow us in the social media scrolling at the bottom of the damn screen. We are talking wrestling all the time. And
Kids at Heart.
Kids at Heart. We are the Kids at Heart. That's right there. The Big Show, Nick Mulbach, and I am, it's the Chris Show, and we are the Kids at Heart. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Adios.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause